Hey, it is your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We're zooming in and focusing in on a great viewer question that we got in, and that is really why, or to go more in depth as to why a malignant narcissist or a psychopath is feeling empty inside or does not have a plethora or spectrum of feelings, emotions, and process these the same way a quote unquote normal person does, or really the mass of humanity, the humane, the humble, that sort of aspect. Why is that? And we're going to go into depth in this video, hopefully to help to educate you and provide you some insight as to why, you maybe have experienced the reactions in the relationship that you have. And so you can furthermore see that it has nothing to do with you, a shortcoming of you. It's nothing that you did wrong to bring this about or to deserve this. It is just what it is like to experience a relationship with a malignant narcissist or a psychopath individual. And before we get started, I want to give a huge shout out to those of you who have recently made a donation to the Peace and Harmony channel, particularly our viewers in the lovely state of Louisiana, southern part of the United States. And I just want to give you a huge shout out and thank you and gratitude for your continued support and viewership. Thank you so much. And of course, yes, you all, if I have, provided a resource or tools of knowledge and been a positive influence in your life, you guys can definitely donate to Peace and Harmony on the home button of the channel here on YouTube. So I want to go a little bit more in depth into, this viewer question is, can you please expand a little bit more on why these individuals are so empty inside or so hollow or unfeeling inside? And when we talk about really on the psychopathic level, a malignant narcissist level, these individuals process, because of the neural network, because of the way their brain chemistry is and the way that their the centers in their brain are, they process things differently than the majority, the mass of people. So when we talk about these statistics, 1 in 100 is psychopathic, 1 in 4 in more specific areas or niches of business or communities. Those people, who tend to gravitate towards the CEO, the business owner, the higher level executives. Sometimes, you see, or the Wall Street, here in the United States, where you see a lot of the investment bankers. Studies have been done that show that there's a higher percentage or prevalence of psychopathic individuals in these areas. And so these are your quote-unquote snakes in suits. These are your individuals who are operating without a conscience and oftentimes fueled by greed, monetary, exploit the weakness of others in order to get what they want. So they have an insatiable need to have power and control over others, and not in a positive, supportive way, but more the fact that they can be the ones pulling the strings, seeing things, change on their behalf, or furthermore, taking from others and not really feeling remorse, guilt, or having a sense of conscience. And it is really, furthermore, that these individuals do not have the same emotional fuel or perception or ability for such, because of inactivities in the brain, particularly those that process the judgment, the sense of judgment, in the areas of the brain that focus on reward. The dopamine, they have a high sensitivity to dopamine, so their brain processes are very sensitive to dopamine production, which is basically the reward chemical. So when you feel a sense of reward, that's a dopamine being elicited, or that's that transmitter that gives you the feeling of reward. And these individuals tend to have up to 4 times greater sensitivity or release of dopamine in their brain. So they tend to trigger this reward response system within themselves through certain things like sex, having power over others, dominion over others, being the one in charge, being the one to get away with things, getting the people who, breaking the rules, breaking the law, transcending natural boundaries, social norms. You shouldn't do that is like a challenge to them. You should be working on this. You should be doing this. This is how this spreadsheet should go. And these are the people that violate these norms, business norms, societal norms, relationship norms. It seems like, they can transcend these based on what it is that they want, from theft to violence to, hurting others, hurting animals. They get this dopamine reward response from these activities, and they tend to not really fear repercussions, because they don't have the same ability to learn from their mistakes either. Again, the judgment centers in the brain are not wired as such. So you see repeat offenders, repeat criminals, people who, have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 marriages, and really, not your typical conventional marriages. Huge gaps of age, huge gaps of culture, kids with all sorts of sundry people and not taking care of them. In other words, they're not, there is a very parasitic sort of connection to others versus symbiotic, or, helping one another, connected and having that sort of foundation with others. It is based on the way that they are wired within their brain itself. And also the reward center, which is hypersensitive in these individuals as well as it's thought that they have a high level of testosterone, which even in females, which creates an aggression, and then also furthermore a lack of empathy. So the ability to hurt others without feeling pain, without feeling sympathy, without feeling that they have done something wrong. So in other words, the ability to hurt others and not feel a reaction. They physically, chemically, and then really without a conscience, which is, a function of the brain itself, is to have consciousness. That is an experience which they do not go through. So it gives them the experience of hurting others or trying to elicit reactions from others which they don't feel. So you see this observation, this tendency for them to just kind of sit back and observe and look at how people react, and then they will mimic it to try to fit in. So they don't have a genuine connection, genuine love, hand holding, want to be there for the long haul, want to be loyal to a spouse, all these sort of connection hormones that connect others naturally, which we don't want to overanalyze here for sake of this video. I want to keep it very cursory and on the surface, because I want you to really understand, and the takeaway is that realize that these people do not experience the same emotional connectivity or reaction to events the way that the mass or normal of humanity, that which is humanity defined, which is being humane, which is being kind, which is having compassion, empathy, working for the greater good. These sort of abstracts, they don't connect to. The sense of fear that might occur, if someone were to, if you were to hurt somebody, and the apologies, the I'm sorry, they do not experience that reaction. They don't experience that within themselves. They're very distant, and also there's a really sort of emptiness or depletion of emotions within these people. So they tend to observe and mimic, and they mimic very, very well. I mean, on a daily basis, they have to mimic feelings in order to fit in, and they really do not experience fear the way that people experience fear. And there's been many interviews, etc., with these types of people, and they will explain this situation is that, they will oftentimes then, commit these heinous crimes in order to see these reactions, and knowing that this person is powerless, against their acts, but yet they kind of take a pleasure out of their helplessness. So it's a very sick thing. Let's leave it at that. But realize that, if you have been around or targeted or in a relationship or a family with this type of person, just realize, that there's nothing you can really do to, help them, restore them, rehab them. Don't make that your job in life. It's really going to be set up with a lot of disappointment, and oftentimes it can be very dangerous to be involved. So the really key is to say, is just to let them go. And, furthermore, don't further injure yourself by surrounding yourself with these types of people. It is oftentimes a source of a lot of distress to people's lives. It is peace and harmony with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.